The snow fell softly on Christmas Eve, each flake catching the warm glow from the stained glass windows of St. Catherine's Church. The old stone building sat on a corner in the downtown district, a landmark that had stood for over 100 years while the city grew and changed around it. The evening service had just ended, and families were streaming out into the winter night, bundled in coats and scarves, heading home to their celebrations. On the side steps of the church, away from the main entrance where most people passed, sat a young woman who watched the happy families with an expression that held no bitterness, only a quiet sadness. Her name was Anna, though most people who passed her on the street didn't bother to ask. She was 23 years old, with long blonde hair that needed washing and a thin beige dress that was completely inadequate for the winter cold. Her feet were bare despite the snow, her shoes having fallen apart 2 weeks ago, and she had nowhere warm to go when the shelter beds filled up, which they always did around the holidays. Anna had been homeless for 8 months, since the series of misfortunes that had started with her mother's death and had cascaded into job loss, eviction, and the slow erosion of everything she'd once thought was stable in her life. She'd tried the shelters, the assistance programs, the job applications. She'd tried staying positive, staying hopeful. But winter was hard, and Christmas was harder. And tonight she sat on the cold church steps because at least the building blocked some of the wind, and the light from the windows made her feel less alone. She heard the child before she saw her, a small voice, bright and curious, breaking through the adult conversation happening nearby. "Daddy, why is that lady sitting in the snow?" Anna looked up and saw a little girl, maybe 3 years old, with blonde pigtails and a red coat that looked like something from a storybook. The child was pointing at Anna with the unself-conscious directness of someone too young to have learned that it's rude to point. "Emma, don't point," said a man's voice, and Anna saw him then. He was probably in his early 30s, tall and well-dressed in a dark coat and suit, with dark hair and the kind of face that suggested he was used to being in control of situations. He held the little girl's hand, and his expression, when he looked at Anna, was complicated. Concern mixed with something that might have been discomfort or pity. "But Daddy, she doesn't have shoes," the little girl said, her voice rising with distress. "And it's snowing." "I know, sweetheart," the man said gently. "But we need to get to Grammy's house for dinner. Come on." But the little girl, Emma, pulled her hand free, and before her father could stop her, she'd run over to where Anna sat on the steps. Up close, Anna could see that Emma's eyes were blue and full of empathy that seemed too mature for someone so small. "Hi," Emma said. "I'm Emma. What's your name?" Anna swallowed hard, unused to being spoken to like a person rather than an obstacle. "I'm Anna." "Are you waiting for someone?" Emma asked. "Is your family coming to get you?" "No," Anna said quietly. "I don't have family." Emma's face crumpled with sadness. "No family? Not even for Christmas?" Anna shook her head, not trusting herself to speak. Emma looked at Anna for a long moment, her small face serious. Then she said, with the simple wisdom of a child, "I think you need a hug." And before Anna could respond, before she could say that it was okay, that Emma didn't need to worry about her, the little girl had stepped forward and wrapped her small arms around Anna's neck. Emma smelled like cookies and baby shampoo, and her hug was fierce and warm, and Anna felt something break open inside her chest. She'd been so strong for so long, keeping her emotions locked down because showing vulnerability on the streets was dangerous, but this unexpected kindness from a child she didn't know undid her completely, and she found herself crying into Emma's red coat while the little girl patted her back and said, "It's okay. It's okay to be sad sometimes." The man, Emma's father, had reached them by then. Anna looked up at him through her tears, expecting to see disapproval or disgust. Instead, she saw her own emotions reflected back at her. The man's eyes were bright with tears he was trying to hold back. "I'm sorry," Anna said quickly, gently disentangling herself from Emma's hug. "I didn't mean to." "I'm sorry." "No," the man said, his voice rough. "Don't apologize. I'm the one who should apologize. I was going to walk past. I was going to take my daughter to a warm house with too much food and too many presents, and I was going to walk past someone sitting barefoot in the snow on Christmas Eve." He crouched down beside Emma, and Anna noticed his expensive shoes getting wet in the snow, but he didn't seem to care. "My name is Michael," he said. "Michael Crawford. And my daughter is right. You need more than a hug, but it's a good start. When's the last time you ate?" Anna tried to remember. "Yesterday, I think." "The mission had lunch." Michael's jaw tightened. "Okay, here's what's going to happen. We're going to my mother's house for Christmas dinner. There's always way too much food, and she always sets extra places because she says, you never know who might need a seat at the table. Today, that seat is for you. Will you come?" Anna stared at him. "I can't. Look at me. I'm dirty. I don't have shoes. I can't go to your mother's house for Christmas dinner." "You can and you will," Michael said firmly. "Emma's right. Nobody should be alone on Christmas. And my mother would be furious with me if I left you here. So please, come with us." Anna wanted to refuse. She had her pride, what was left of it. But she was so cold and so tired. And Emma was looking at her with such hope that she found herself nodding. "Okay," she whispered. "Thank you." Michael took off his coat and wrapped it around Anna's shoulders, then picked her up before she could protest. "You're not walking barefoot through the snow," he said simply. Emma held onto Anna's hand as they walked to Michael's car, a sleek vehicle that was warm inside and smelled like leather and pine air freshener. The drive to Michael's mother's house took 20 minutes. Through neighborhoods that got progressively nicer, Anna sat in the back seat with Emma, who chattered happily about Christmas and Santa and the cookies she'd helped. "Grammy make." Michael was quiet, occasionally glancing at them in the rearview mirror with an expression Anna couldn't quite read. The house they pulled up to was beautiful, a large colonial-style home with lights strung along the roofline and a wreath on the front door. Anna's anxiety spiked. "Michael, I really don't think I should go in there. I don't fit. I'll ruin your family's Christmas." "You won't," Michael said. "Trust me. My mother is going to love you." He was right. Michael's mother, whose name was Patricia, took one look at Anna and immediately ushered her inside, making no comment about her appearance beyond. "Oh, honey, you must be freezing. Let's get you warmed up and fed." The house was full of family, Michael's sister and her husband, his brother and 2 teenage nephews, and Patricia holding court over all of them with warmth and efficiency. They barely blinked when Michael explained that Anna would be joining them for dinner. And within minutes, Anna found herself upstairs in a guest bathroom with Patricia, who was running a hot bath and laying out clean clothes. "These were my daughters," Patricia said, gesturing to a soft sweater and jeans. "She's about your size. Take your time, warm up, and come down when you're ready. Dinner won't be for another hour." "Mrs. Crawford?" Anna started, but Patricia held up a hand. "Patricia, please. And you don't need to explain anything. My grandson saw someone who needed help, and my son did the right thing by listening to her. That's all I need to know." After the bath, wearing clean clothes and with her hair washed for the first time in weeks, Anna looked at herself in the mirror and barely recognized the person staring back. She looked almost normal, almost like the person she used to be before everything fell apart. Dinner was overwhelming in the best way. The table was crowded with food and family, and everyone went out of their way to include Anna in the conversation without asking invasive questions about how she'd ended up on the church steps. They talked about ordinary things, work and school, and the funny thing that happened at the grocery store. And for 2 hours, Anna felt like a regular person instead of someone to be pitied or avoided. Emma insisted on sitting next to Anna, and throughout the meal, the little girl would periodically lean over and hug Anna's arm or rest her head against her shoulder. Each time, Anna felt her heart squeeze with a mixture of gratitude and grief for everything she'd lost. After dinner, as the family moved to the living room for presents and coffee, Patricia pulled Anna aside. "I want you to know something," Patricia said. "My husband died 5 years ago, and that first Christmas without him, I was lost. I sat in this house that felt too big and too empty, and I wondered what the point was of celebrating anything when the person I loved most was gone. And then my grandson, who was just a few months old at the time, smiled at me. Just a baby smile, probably gas, but it reminded me that life goes on, that there's still joy to be found, still reasons to celebrate, still people who need us." She took Anna's hand. "You're here for a reason tonight. Maybe it's so Emma could learn about compassion. Maybe it's so Michael could be reminded that success means nothing if we don't use it to help others. Or maybe it's because you needed to remember that you're not alone, that there are people who care about you even if they just met you. Whatever the reason, I'm glad you're here. Anna had to wipe her eyes. Thank you for everything. I don't know how to repay you. You don't repay kindness, Patricia said. You pass it on. But right now, you focus on getting back on your feet.